Hello friends, and welcome to this crochet tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make this dino-Maid. Dino-Maid, you ask? Yes, the top half is a dinosaur, bottom half is mermaid. We've combined the two, added a little ruffle edge here, turned it into a keychain. So if you're interested in learning how to make the dino-Maid keychain, come follow me. It's great for scrap yarn. It's really kind of a no-sew. The only thing we really have to do is bury the ends. Otherwise, everything is pretty much crochet. Perfect for beginners because we're going to go through it stitch by stitch, and I'm sure that you will understand how to make it with no problems. So come join me and let's make the dino-Maid keychain / plushie together. To making of this plushie, we're going to be using 4 colors of yarn. In this one, I'm going to use a blue for the upper body, a green for the lower body. I'm going to use a hot pink for, I call it the mane, which is the little bumps along the back, and the white will be for the skirt. This is also doubled worsted weight yarn, but you can use single. You just use a different size hook, and I'll tell you that in just a few minutes, or you can use yarn, blanket yarn, which is obviously a bigger yarn. So the hook for this tutorial is going to be a 4.5 millimeter. We're going to use a pair of scissors, 1 stitch marker, have a large eye tapestry needle, and these are safety eyes. These are 8 millimeter safety eyes. Now, if you're going to be using 1 strand of worsted weight, you would use a 3.75 millimeter hook, and the safety eyes would be a size 6. If you're going to be using blanket yarn, you would use a 7 millimeter crochet hook and size 16 millimeter safety eyes. When I doubled my yarn, I took it from the center skein and from the outer skein. I joined it together. We will not be using this much yarn. It is a small ball. You'll see as we go along. These small keychain sizes really don't take that much, but if you join it together into 2, it'll make it so that the body is more firmer for keychain use than it would be if you just use 1 strand of yarn. If you're doing a plushie, of course you just use the 1 strand because it is thicker. So let's get started with our yarn. Find your 4 colors that you would like to use, and you can double it as you go, but I prefer that you stick it into a ball to make it easier for you to handle. Now, with any project, you always want to pull out an ample amount of yarn so that you can maintain proper tension as you go along. If you're working and you got it where the ball is dragging on you, it can make it so that your stitches will not be of the same size. We're going to start off with at least 6 inches on our on our tail, because when we do a magic circle, we're only going around once, but we really need to go around twice. Sometimes, especially with worsted weight yarn, if you go around twice, you might not pull the right ends. So it's just better to sew them in. You hear the word sew it in. We're not going to be crocheting that in. Okay, so let's start off with at least 6 inches and go ahead and make our magic circle. And into our magic circle, we're going to place 8 single crochet. One, two, three. Continue until you have 8 single crochet. After we have 8 single crochets in our magic circle, let's go ahead and pinch the top or at the end of this row here and pull our tail to close the magic circle. I'm going to snug up that last stitch because sometimes it loses its shape and size from pulling the circle closed. The tops right here are the tops of the stitches. So let's count back 8 so that we start in the right stitch instead of a chain or something. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here's our 8th stitch right here. Now sometimes the first stitch can be a little tight depending on how hard you closed your magic circle. Okay, so what we're going to do is complete our first single crochet of our new row. But as we go along, we always want to mark our first stitch of every row. So that way we know that it's time to start that new row. And we have the proper amount of stitches per row. So we have 1. Our next stitch, we're going to place 2. When you have 2 single crochets together, it is known as an increase. So for these 2 stitches that we've just created, single crochet in one and increase in the second one, we're going to repeat this 3 more times till we get to our stitch marker. So over those next 2 stitches, single crochet and increase. Continue with this repeat 2 more times. We're going to secure our magic circle, so let's enlarge the loop and take our hook out, turn it over, and with our tapestry needle, go ahead and place it into the eye of the needle. And we're going to go and pick up a few stitches as we go around. This will help ensure that our magic circle is reinforced and does not fall apart. All right, then let's pick up one part of the stitch and run it through the loop, pull it down tight, and cut it with a 1-inch tail. Moving on, place your hook back into the loops and secure it down. The first stitch of our next row is 1 single crochet, the second stitch is 1 single crochet, and the third one is increase. So the repeat of this row is single crochet, increase, single crochet, single crochet, increase. I'm going to encourage you to do this repeat 2 more times till you get to the end of the row. Single crochet, increase. Our next row will begin with 1 single crochet, and the second one will be increase. This is our repeat for this row. 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Okay, so over those next 2 stitches, single crochet, increase. Continue this all the way around to the end of the row, and I will meet you there. Please pause your video. At the end of this row, you should have 24 stitches. So for the next 2 rows, we're going to do just plain single crochet, 1 per stitch. Remember to replace your stitch marker at the beginning of that next row as well. So for the next 2 rows, 24 single crochet. Moving on to our next row, we're going to be adding the look of hands in this particular row. So let's start off with our first single crochet, and we want to do a total of 9. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. The look of the hands is completed with a bobble stitch. We're going to place our finger on the loop on the hook, yarn over, and then add your finger to that loop. In the next hole, all the stitches that we're going to be doing will be done into this next hole. So yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over through 2 loops on the hook. These are half of a double crochet. If we were going to complete a double crochet, we would have went through the other 2, but we're not going to do that right now. So yarn over again into the same hole, pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2 loops on your hook. Okay, we're carrying 3 now. Yarn over into the same hole, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. Whoops, I went through too many. There we go. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and through 2 loops on the hook. So we now have 5 loops on the hook. Now to make this easier, you want to aim your hook down and pull up. See how the loops are being stretched? So yarn over, hook, aim down, pull up, and pull it through all those loops on the hook. And it should go through there smoothly. Into our next, here's our last hole. So here's our next one. We're going to do a single crochet. So take your baubles, bend them over forward, insert your hook into the next hole, and complete a single crochet. Now here's where we can tighten it down so that the bauble part will poke out towards you. If it's poking in here, take your finger and push it through. So we have one single crochet. We're going to do a total of 5. So here's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Into our next stitch, we're going to do the same thing we did right here. So we're going to do a bobble stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. We're going to do it 2 more times. Yarn over, into the same hole and pull up a loop, yarn over through 2 loops. It's being difficult now. Okay, we got one more to do. Yarn over into that same hole. Let's pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. Okay, so we have the 5. Yarn over, aim your hook down, and pull up. And pull it all right through. The rest of the row, you'll see that we have 8 single crochets, but we're not going to do 8 single crochets. So let's do 7. So let's bend this forward. Sometimes when you want to do a color change, you want it to be a straight line. So I'm going to show you how I create straight lines when doing amigurumi. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, our next stitch will be a slip stitch. So let's insert our hook, pull up a loop, and take that loop and keep going through the loop that's on our hook. Okay, so we're going to cut our yarn probably about 3 inches. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. I think you'll like it too, because it does help give a nice smooth straight line. Now for the bottom of my mermaid, okay, so this is the bottom, this is the skirt. Okay, so for the bottom, I'm using a green as well, but it's going to be a lighter green. So remember to pull the excess out so that we can remain proper tension. Okay, so with this last stitch, enlarge it, take your hook out, go into the next stitch from the back forward, take these loops and put them back onto your hook. Make sure they're all open so you don't snag any of them. Okay, and then tighten those loops up and pull it through till it's in the back. You'll notice that this has created not 100% total straight line, but it has made it so that it gives the illusion of a straight line right here. Okay, then take your new color, place it on your hook, and pull it through. With the tail of the other color, tighten it up, And the tail of the new color, let's leave it in the back. For this row, we're going to be working in the back loops only. This is the front loop. That's the back loop. Now where we see the green, in this case, we want to pick up this back loop to start our new row. It may feel a little snug, but that's okay. It's because we've tightened everything up here in the back. So let's create one single crochet, and we're going to continue around in the back loop of all of these stitches until we get to the end. Now I'm going to show you real quick, when you get to the bobble stitch, these are the long ones. This is the front loop. This is the back loop. Remember to pick up the back loop even with those as you go around, because you can tell that they are the stitch tops. Okay, so continue with this single crochet in the back loop only. We want this line to show because that's where we're going to attach our skirt when we're done. So continue with this around. I'll meet you at this stitch, and we also want to count to make sure, but I'm going to show you how to count as well. We're going to have 24 single crochets around. Okay, I've counted as I went around. This one is my 23rd stitch. Now you see this collection of lines right here. See how it alters and whatever? But we're not concerned about these right now. You got one loop in the back. That is your 24th back loop. So let's go ahead and insert the hook in there and do our 24th single crochet. This right here is the beginning, not this one up here. This is where we start our new row. So insert your hook into this one right here. It might be a little firm because you did pull it when we before we started the row. So here's our first single crochet of this new row, and let's place our stitch marker. Okay, and you see how our line looks almost like a straight line like the rest. Of course, you know, we pulled it through, so this is that pull through into the back right here. Okay, and then before we move on, let's take the two colors and of course separate them, snug them up if you need to, and place a square knot to finish them off so that they don't come undone again. Okay, so for these next two rows, 24 each row. Please pause your video and I will meet you after you've completed 2 rows of 24 single crochet each row. It's coming along kind of cutely, huh? All right, so this row we're going to be placing the fins, the tail, I guess you can call it. So let's start off with our first single crochet. And we're going to do a total of 6. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now in our next stitch, we're going to be placing many stitches, but you can do this. It's not the bobble stitch. It's a little stitch that's going to make it look like a fin or a mermaid tail. So let's start off with 1 single crochet, chain 2, okay, double crochet, so yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through 2. Chain 2, and this is what we're going to call the completion of a picot. Now you've got your front loop here, and then you got part of the single crochet. So we're going to be picking up both of those, so the front loop and part of the body, and do a slip stitch. So pull it through all of them and the loop that's on the hook. That's going to give it kind of like a little point. Then chain 2 again. I thought I pulled out enough yarn, and I guess I didn't. Okay, now into that same stitch, single crochet. Okay, let's snug it up. So if you pull it out, it looks kind of like a triangle almost. Okay, in our next stitch, just 1 single crochet, and then into the next stitch we're going to do this fin tail piece again. So 1 single crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2. We're going to go through the front loop and the top of that single crochet, known as the picot. So we slip stitch all that back together, chain 2, and then single crochet into the same stitch. Snug it up. There we go. Okay, we're going to do 15 single crochets to get to the end of the row. When we get to the end of the row, enlarge your loop, and we're going to be adding our eyes. So continue on with 15 single crochet, enlarge your loop, and wait. And I'll meet you when you get there. Please pause your video. So this is what we have when it's lying flat. So here's like the tail. Of course, it's not going to stay looking like that. It'll be bunched together here in just a little bit, but we're going to place eyes in first. Now I'm going to show you of the 2 that I have made before. See how the spacing can make a change on the appearance? So you can do the same thing. Wherever the eyes look best on yours is where I would like for you to place yours. Now if you want to do the same as me, here we have the top here and come down 2 rows. What I usually like to do is go straight up from the edge of the the hand, and place in. So if I went up here, it would be about right here. That looks pretty balanced. So here's the center top. We got 1, 2, so into that next row down. Okay, so let's take this. Let's place our backings. I have my fingers on the inside here holding those in place. Now since these are small eyes, I use the the cups where the flat side goes to the bottom first. And you can push it all the way down. Now another thing too, if you've been following me in these videos, I am a mom, and I mean, my kids don't do this, but if you have children that want to chew on things, please don't let them play with this, okay? These eyes, even though it's snug putting those backings on, if you're chewing on this, yes, and picking at it, it's going to come out, okay? This is strictly for decoration, so please be cautious and careful when using safety eyes. They're designed to be staying in place if used properly, but if you're picking and chewing and whatever else, they won't be safe. And I don't want to see anybody chewing on it and getting hurt. So please be careful. That's my request as a mom. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to do facial expressions and other things after we've stuffed it. But this next row that we're going to do is the first row of our decreases. Okay, so let's start off with our first single crochet. Oh, and we'll stuff it here in just a minute. The hole is still kind of too big. Okay, so we have one single crochet. Now the next stitch we're going to do is a decrease. Over the next 2 stitches, we're going to join them to make it as one. We have our front loop and our back loop. So we're going to take the front loop of the next 2 stitches, okay, and then pull the yarn through both of them. Now it does take some practice, but you know, you can do this. I had to learn too. I used to do it the other way, but this gives the illusion of another single crochet. Whoever came up with this was genius. Okay, anyway, so we have 2 loops on the hook, so yarn over, and that completes. See how it looks like a single crochet? Okay, now you see how that loop is up? Okay, but we want to go into a full one. So single crochet into the next one, and then decrease over the next 2. Front loop and front loop. All right, so here we are at the tail. Bring your tail forward. Okay, we have single crochet all in one. We have 1 single crochet by itself, and then we have this single crochet that's with these stitches. We want the single crochet that's there all by itself. Okay, so insert the hook from the front to the back, which you can also do this way. Okay, and pull up a loop. Now this loop will get pulled a little bit, so you want to snug it up, and then yarn over and through both of them, and then snug them up again. Okay, now here we're at the other tail. So the next one, you see this single crochet is part of this right here. So we want to go into the next single crochet because that's the one that's in the body. So we're going to do the same thing with our hook. We're going to go pull it in, bring up a loop, okay, and snug it up if you need to, and then through 2 of them, and then let's snug it up again. Okay, so we did 1 single crochet here. Now the next 2 is going to be a decrease. So we're going to continue with the single crochet decrease till you get within 1 or 2 stitches of the end of the row. Okay, so we're going to repeat this 5 times. Okay, so here's one. Okay, so once you get to where you have the last 2 stitches, stop there, and I'll meet you there. Well, I double checked what I did. Okay, 3, 4, 1. And I guess when I made my other 2, I must have overlooked something. Anyway, I got 3 stitches left. If you have 3 stitches left, then we're going to do a single crochet and a decrease. If you have 2 stitches left, just do another decrease. Anyway, I even went over it to make sure that everything was right. I guess this is my blooper for this video. Oh my goodness. I don't know why, but lately I've been bloopering. I guess I have a lot of stuff on my mind. I don't know. Anyway, so let's take out our stitch marker. Now, if you want to stuff this some right now, feel free. I'm going to wait till after the next row. I guess because I'm just that way. So let's do our single crochet, our second single crochet, and then we're going to do a decrease. Continue this around until you get to the stitch marker. Single crochet, decrease. Alrighty, so we have single crochet, single crochet. Okay, let's remove our stitch marker. We have a couple of more stitches to make and then we're done. So let's do a decrease. We're gonna single crochet and slip stitch. All right, we want to cut about an 8 to 10 inch tail. This will be used to help weave in our ends and finish off the stitch into the body. Okay, so let's we have our eyes attached, so let's go ahead and get out our stuffing and stuff our body firmly. Now I feel that the hole is big enough so that way I can stick my finger and stuffing or my thumb into the hole with no problem. So I am going to stuff my little dino-Maid. Okay. Now you don't want a squishy feeling, you want a firm feeling. So if you find that you need to add more stuffing, I encourage you to add more stuffing. Also, my opinion, I think that these would make great keychains for sales in your markets. It's cute, kids would love it, who knows, even the parents would love it. Okay, now remember too, if you wanted to make it out of plushie yarn, this thing will probably be about 6 or 8 inches tall. So right here, when I squeeze it, you see how it's kind of like a squishmallow? We don't want that. We want it to be firm. So if I squeeze it and I'm doing this, that's firm. So let's add some more stuffing till it's of your liking, and then I'm going to show you how to close it. Now we don't want the stuffing bulging out because when we pull this in, we want it to be flat. So if you're making a plushie, it'll sit right up for you. So let's go ahead and place our tail here on our yarn needle. And then we're going to pick up the front loops of each one of these stitches around. Now, we don't have 6, we don't have 8, we probably have 9 or 10. I don't know, I've never counted them. But we're going to have a few here, which is better than having 6 or 8 because it'll cause it to pucker. And we don't want it to pucker. We just want it to lay flat. Okay, so after we've gone around, let's go ahead and pull it closed. And we're going to go around it again just by picking up the outer parts of these. Looks like a little sun here. Basically, we're going through the center of these single crochets again. And that'll help pull the center in. And see how it pulls it tight? And also helps it to lay flat. So if I was to flip it like this, you can see the little fins over here, as well as it sitting flat. And that's what will help for the plushie. And then I pick up a loop of part of the single crochet that's in there, and then pull it through the loop and tighten it. Go in, and then we're going to weave in to the center of some of these stitches on the row. This will help. So if we were to cut this here, this right here will work itself out. So if we go through the center of these stitches here, this will help secure them in. So the chances of it actually coming undone or coming out is pretty slim. It will be a little snug because of the stitches that were made, but that's okay. Okay, so here's our finished little bottom body here. So let's get out the color we're planning on using for the, I guess it's a mane or whatever it's called. Let's pull out that color next. Now we need to start off with about a 6-inch tail, and we're going to place a slip knot on that tail. The reason why for a 6-inch tail is because we're going to use this to sew it in. Okay, so let's start up here at the very top. We want to go as much in between the eyes as possible. If you can't, then we're going to start up here and work with what we have. So you want to pick it up and then go through the center of the magic circle. Okay, and we're going to pull that through and start off with a slip knot. So with the loop that we just pulled through, we want to pull it through the loop that's on the hook as well. And then take this and tighten it if you can. We'll be sewing this in. Yes, I know you don't want to hear that word. I've gotten to the point where I've enjoyed making these amigurumis without the sewing part. It is kind of, funner to create this. And it's also challenging, too, to create designs that have no sew. So you use the stitches that you've learned over the years, I guess. Okay, so we did our slip stitch. So let's chain 1. And here we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. So we're going to go through that magic circle and down. So yarn over. We're going to go in through that the magic circle, and come up right here. It's all on that one row. And then pull the yarn back through. Okay, so we pulled up a loop and we got 3 loops on our hook. So yarn over and through all 3 loops on that hook. Chain 1. Let's see, we want to make sure that we're going down straight to the back. So here's where we want to head towards. So let's go right here. Okay, and we're going to slip stitch. There we go. So you should have like a little loop here. Now to make sure that we're going straight, let's take a look at our arms. And we'll place our stitch marker so that we can head in that right direction. So here, whoops. Is that the way I want to go? Yeah, right to here. And this will help guide us into the right direction. So if we can't find a stitch to go into, we can always go over one and go on down. Okay, so after we do our slip stitch, we want to chain one. The next stitch will have our half double crochet. So we're going to go pick up this right here, pull up a loop through all the loops on the hook, chain one, and into the next stitch we do a slip stitch. Chain one, yarn over. Okay, we can remove the stitch marker now. Okay, we're going to complete that half double crochet. Chain one. Then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Okay, we have one more little loop to do. So let's chain one into the next stitch, half double crochet. Whoops, I hit some of the batting. We don't want to pull out the batting. Okay, drop a loop. Okay, through all three loops on the hook, chain one, and slip stitch into the last one. All right, so we want to cut with about a 6-inch tail. Okay, so we have 4 little scallops here. So let's take the yarn, place it on our needle, we're going to go in right here at the beginning. We're going to come out somewhere down here. Make sure it's not snagging on anything up there. And then we'll take the one from the end, and we're going to go in through the bottom here and come out through that same hole. Okay, let's take and tie a square knot. Cut it to about 1 inch. Get your crochet hook and go in between some stitches here and come out the same hole where the knot is. Place the yarn around your hook and pull it in. All right, make sure when you bring your hook out you don't bring no stuffing or the yarn. All right, so we have our little bumps on. Let's work on our skirt next. Now, if you would like for it to look as is, that's fine. You could look like a little boy. If you want to put the skirt on, I'm going to show you how to do that next. Now, as before, we're going to start off with about a 6-inch tail. Let's place a slip knot on our hook. Now, the skirt is going to be basically the same as the scallops that we used for the tail, or for the mane here. But it's going to be just a little bit different. So let's pick up the first front loop, if you're right-handed, here on the right side of this, the little scallop thing, and we're going to turn it into a slip stitch. So we're going to bring it up and then go through the loop on our hook. And get your tail out of the way. And then we're going to snug everything up. Okay. Chain 2, 1, 2, into the next stitch, half double crochet, chain 2, into the next stitch, slip stitch. And snug it up. And that'll give a nice little scallop right here. Okay, continuing on, chain 2, into the next stitch, half double crochet, chain 2, into the next stitch, a slip stitch. And then snug it up. Continue around, and I'll meet you there. So at this last stitch here, let's cut our tail. We're going to finish it off the same way we did the little scallop mane there. Now, if you have a little bit of extra here, take it and go up towards the mane and go in and come out between some stitches down here. Do the same with the other side and tie it in with a square knot and bury your stitches. We still have some little bit of accents we want to place on our face. Let's see, that pink ain't long enough. So I'm going to grab me some pink. Use kind of like the same color. You can choose any color you would like. If you want purple or whatever. Whatever makes it look your vision of cute. Okay, so for these cheeks, we want to start off with a little tail. Come across. Now, I like to go around mine twice. I think it looks cute. If you want to do just one, feel free to do just one. And then we're going to come across here to the other side. And I'm going to go around this stitch twice. Whoops, I hit my camera. My camera is only about 6 inches from my work. So we're going to go out through the same hole that we came in at so that we can tie these off as well. There we go. The last color we're going to be using is black. So go ahead and get some black for the mouth, and I'll meet you there. Now, the friends that I've created before have two different types of mouths. One looks like a chicky mouth, and the other one is a unusual happy smile mouth. So whichever mouth smile you choose to do, it could be a straight line if that's what you would like. I encourage you to choose that one. But we're going to be putting this smile in the same way. We're going to come up. I'll probably just do a little chicky mouth. To do a chicky mouth, though, we want to find the right amount of spacing between these eyes here, and then come down into the center like so. Yeah, that looks like it's okay. And then we're going to go down into that same hole and then come out through the center. I pulled that one a little tight, didn't I? There we go. Now it fits right in. Let's go ahead and tie it off, and I'll show you how to add the chain. Now, if you choose to do the keychain, like the little one that I'm showing you how to make here, I'm going to show you how to add the hook. I mean the ball chain and the hook here. So what I do is I'll find an open space that says that it's in between the stitches, and I'll use my crochet hook. Take the clasp from the ball and chain here and put it up onto the hook and twist it as you go in and come around. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. If you've seen some of my other videos, sometimes I make boo-boos. It happens. Then we want to take the clasp and go through the hole in the bottom of the hook and take the little ball and go into the clasp. Okay, now if you want to know where I got these from AliExpress. You can get a box of 200 for a couple bucks. It takes, though, about a month to get to your house. That's the only downside of AliExpress, is because they're being mailed from China and they have to go through customs. But it's okay. I enjoy the wait because it gives me something to plan and look forward to. The hooks also came from AliExpress. My safety eyes come from AliExpress. For markets and stuff like this, ordering from AliExpress is actually a very inexpensive way, instead of having to go to your local craft store and pick up all these items. I mean, I picked up a bag of these hooks for a couple of bucks, and there's like 200 in the bag. Really worth all the effort. Anyway, let me enlarge this so we can show you all of our little dino-maids together. So here's our completed one that we just made for our video. You'll see how the fin does split, but it's okay because it gives the illusion of the tail fin. Here's the top half is a dinosaur, the bottom half is our mermaid, and here's our keychain. I really hope you had a fun time making this. I hope that I explained it to you well. And I hope you come back and join me again for another crochet tutorial on things that I hope inspire you to keep crocheting. So, thanks for being with me here today. Till next time. Bye-bye.